It's just about doing a lot of things. It's just about trying to do this and do that. But your real source to your overall influence is in your intentional commitment to your growth and your fellowship with God. If you choose that you want to really grow, you want to be influential, it's not about the heart, it's not about trying to show up on flyers or trying to put up programs. It's your intentional commitment to your own growth and your fellowship with God. You can pay attention to being committed to your growth, if you can pay attention to being committed to your life, being committed to being better, being committed to improving in your skills, improving in your life, improving in the things you do, then you will see yourself grow in no small way. And also your fellowship with God. What's my number 2 lesson that I learned in 2022? My number 2 lesson is that your most treasured asset is your time. Your most treasured asset is your time. Listen, your most treasured asset is not the amount of money you want to make, it's not the amount of followers you want to build, it's your time. The ability to create more time to innovate, to generate ideas, to think through those ideas, to draft out your action plan, and then to commit to your vision is your most treasured asset. A lot of people believe it's the ability to be called up to a lot of programs, it's the ability to speak here and there, it's the ability to travel here and there, it's the ability to attend a lot of conferences, take a lot of courses, read a lot of books. But the time that you have in being intentional to developing yourself. So your most treasured asset is your time. If you are someone who wants to be a thought leader, you want to do so much in life, you want to accomplish so much in your life, make sure you treasure every time that you have. As you go into the year 2023, you must choose to treasure the time that you have. My number 3 lessons, are you ready to hear this? Number 3 lessons is don't settle for mediocrity because of what people around you will think. I see a lot of people will say, I don't want to show my face. I don't want to go online and begin to share posts. I don't want to record that video. I don't know what people will say. I don't know what people will feel like. I don't want to write that book because I don't know what it will seem like. So people will begin to feel like I'm now an author. People will feel like I'm now this. Stop trying to play small because of what people around you will think. Stop trying to settle for mediocrity because of what people around you will think. You know, you are so great. There's so much about you that's not been shown to our world because you're not willing to show yourself. Okay, stop trying to play small. Stop trying to be small. Stop trying to settle for little. All right, but willing to go for the best. But willing to go for more. But willing to drive for more. Because at the end of the day, the people who you think are thinking about you are really thinking about themselves because they don't have time thinking about you. For the little time they seem to comment, it will soon be gone, and then you'll be the one at the top there, and then they begin to look at you like you're really wise. So don't settle for mediocrity because of what people around you will think. Are you set for number 4? Number 4 lessons I learned in 2022 is every day is an opportunity to build a legacy. Be deliberate about it. Everyone you meet, everyone you walk by, everything you seem to do is an opportunity to build your legacy. You know, a lot of people believe, legacy is built when you get to the age of 80 or 70 or 90. No, every day you're building a legacy. Everything you're doing right now is mounting up to your legacy. And then those are the things that you would either have to encourage a generation or you regret that you did or you did not. Is everything you're doing today or you're not doing that is able to build a generation or destroy that generation. So every day you're building a legacy. Every time you choose to hide, every time you choose to curb and nurture your shyness, and then you do not choose to be deliberate, to show up strong, to be the best at what you do, to be intentional at the things that you do, you begin to find out that you are also building or destroying a legacy. So you're building your legacy on a daily basis. I learned this powerful lesson, and then I chose to become really deliberate about the things I do on a daily basis. Number 5 lesson is choose your priorities correctly. Not many things in life really matter. Okay, choose your priority correctly. You need to sit down right now with what are the 3 most important things that are really essential to me. You believe it's money? No, but probably it's happiness. Okay, you believe it's getting married, but probably it's fulfillment. Now you must begin to sit down and say, what are the top 3 priorities to me? And what do I need to do to ensure that these priorities are the things I work towards, I work with, I focus on in my life? Not everything in life seems to be very, very important. Choose your priority correctly, and then you begin to see your life change in no small way. Number 16 lesson I learned. This I learned at Ignition 3.0 by Pastor Jide Shangodare. He says, discover yourself. Now, when people hear the word discover themselves, because you feel that, now you're on the public space, you have a social media account that is booming, you have the ability to be invited to speak, means that you have discovered yourself already. No, you should realize that you keep evolving on a daily basis in the discovery of yourself. You wake up every morning and say, how can I be more better than I was yesterday? You're discovering something new about yourself. Okay, what else did I think I knew in the past that now it seems like I really did not know about it? You're growing in the discovery of yourself. Number seven lesson I learned in 2022 is to develop yourself. I'll say this over and over again, is to develop yourself. I learned this as an emphasis at Ignition 3.0. Develop yourself. Be willing to develop yourself. Be willing to be better. Be willing to say, oh, I spoke this way in the past. How can I speak better in a form that will become memorable in their minds? Develop yourself. You wrote in a certain way in the past and you saw the reaction, you saw the responses, you read it. How can you be better? What do you need to read? What do you need to know? How do you infuse stories into the things that you say? How can you be the one pointing to the hearts of your audience? You're choosing to develop yourself. Number 8, are you ready for this? Number 8 is to deploy and diffuse yourself. You know, I've always heard about develop, deploy, but amazingly, I heard about diffusing yourself. Now, diffusing means, how do you multiply yourself? How do you multiply yourself? How do you build mentorship platforms with which you can begin to include yourself into others? You can begin to put in yourself into others. You can begin to pour out your spirit into others and see them do better. Okay, to the extent you have gotten to others, they even do better than you. You're willing to diffuse yourself. How can you get your message from just 5 people to 10 to 15 to 100 to hundreds of thousands to a million? What do you have to do? You begin to choose to diffuse yourself. And I'm so ready this year to diffuse myself. Number 9, getting almost there. Number 9 lesson I learned is that personal development is not personal. Okay, I got this particular statement from Madam General Elizabeth Samuel, and she said that statement, and I just keyed into it. Personal development is not personal. You know, a lot of people, when you hear personal development, you just say, oh, it's just me. Maybe I just need to lock up myself in a dark room and then I remain silent and just begin to look up. You will still come out and remain the same person because nothing has really grown in you. Listen, personal development is not necessarily personal. Why? Because you need to leverage on the knowledge of others. You need to leverage on the books others have written, leverage on the courses others have created, leverage on the programs people have gone through, and then network with people, associate with people. That's how you get to become a better person. So personal development is not necessarily personal. Even though you are responsible for the decisions you take, it does not mean that you do not need every other person to be better at the things that you do. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth Samuel, for that statement. Personal development is not personal. Finally, number 10 lesson I learned this from David O. Lawal, the masterful speaker. He said that there is a leadership capacity in everyone. There's the leadership ability in everyone. Now, when people look at the concept of leadership, they believe, oh, until I get that position, until I become the president, until I become the governor, until I become the senator, until I become this, I become that, I arise to attaining that, fulfilling that, and doing all of that. That's when many people believe that they are leaders. No, everyone have a leadership ability in themselves. And what that really means that you have the ability to lead yourself. You have the ability to lead a movement. You have the ability to influence with your gifts. You have the ability to impact people with the little things that you got. So you have a leadership ability in you. And the first person you need to lead is yourself. Those are my powerful 10 lessons for 2022. And I believe you learned from them. I believe you wrote out 1 or 2 things from them. What are the things that strike you the most? Please go well to the comment section. Let me see how well you were blessed by this. Do well to like this video so this video can be recommended to more people. And also don't forget to subscribe to this channel because more and more value will come to you on this channel in 2023. Are you ready? Be blessed, be transformed. Share this video with your friends, and then see you when we see. Remain exceptional, remain the best that you can be, and turn your life around in no small way. Cheers.
All right, that's it. Thank you so much. I hope that video blessed you in no small way. All right, it's Growth School o'clock. It's time for Growth School, and you know when we come for growth, it's time to develop. It's time to grow. It's time to grow. It's time to increase, and it's time to become the best that you want to be. All right, it's time to be the best that you want to be. Okay, so when we'll come for growth school is that time when we choose to be intentional about improving our lives, about the time when I come with a lot of wisdom that you can apply, that are relatable, that you can begin to make use of to become a better person in the things that you do. It could be in your career life, it could be in your business, it could be in your family life, it could be in even your own personal development. All right, so you should be ready for the things that we want to share today. Okay, if you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Abiodun Mustapha. I'm a personal development expert, I'm an educator, a speaker, an author, and also I'm a business consultant and a business coach. So I share a lot of amazing things relating to purpose, productivity, and profitability. So one of that which we'll be sharing today is the fourth series in our most defining moment for growth school. So we've had most defining moment part one, part two, part three, and this is part four. And today we'll be looking at the sacrifice of influence. The sacrifice of influence. If you are that person right now, you're watching me and you're thinking in your head, feeling like, oh, can I be influential? What do I need to do to command massive influence? What do I need to do to be this influential? You want to become a social media influencer, you want to influence massively. I think this video is for you, and this particular webinar is for you. And if you are at that point where you've not really even discovered yourself, you are still struggling with coming out of your identity crisis, you are still struggling with identifying who you are and what you should begin to do in your life and in this generation, then you should stay till the end and listen. Get your notepad, get your pen, and begin to write. I would also advise for those who are watching me with their smartphone, please turn your screen to landscape, okay, so you can get the full picture of that will be shared in the webinar tonight. Okay, it should be night, it's night in Nigeria, it's noon in some part of America, and I think some other part it should be maybe midnight. Okay, so whatever time zone you are in, you're welcome to Growth School. So we're talking about the sacrifice of influence. And before we start, please, if you're watching this particular session live, do well to share the link on your WhatsApp status. Share the link and let people know that we are live on your Facebook. Share it with those that you know. Share it as direct message with all of your networks and let them come in to get the value that we have. I tell you, I have a lot of value, buffet of value to serve. It's the one that you want that you take and you consume, and you're free to take as much as you want. All right, the sacrifice of influence. And I'll be starting tonight in this webinar with understanding the meaning of influence. We should begin to look at what does influence really mean from dictionary meaning, and then I traced back. I tried to also find out the Latin meaning. What does it mean? Okay, what's the origin to the word influence? Okay, now influence has to do with the capacity to affect someone or to affect something. Now, when we talk about the ability to affect someone or the ability to affect something, now people do things, okay? People initiate things. Now, the individual, when something seems to affect, okay, an individual or seems to affect certain things or seem to affect certain decisions, that person is said to be influential. Okay, for example, maybe while you're thinking of, oh, I want to take this certain decision, and right now I seem to be confused, I don't know what to do. In your mind, there are certain people that come to mind that, oh, if I could check the video that this person did, or watch the video that this person did, or listen to the podcast of this individual, I will be able to get an answer. Now, it means that person has the ability to affect your decision. The person has the ability to affect what you were doing or what you decide, okay, at certain instances and at certain times to do. Okay, so it's very important that you understand that influence has to do with the capacity to affect someone or something. Now, it's not at this point, influence is not trying to look at the number of people that are affected. It's not looking at the number, okay, the statistics of people that are affected by that, but it's also looking at the ability that you have that effect and you have that impact on people or on everyone. Welcome, Emmanuel Oketa. Welcome, Emmanuel Oketa. It's nice to have you again. Emmanuel has been a very loyal follower of Growth School. Welcome, Emmanuel. It's nice to see you again. Okay, so like I was saying, so influence is the ability to affect someone or to affect something. So it's like someone is going on this certain decision, and then maybe by the way, someone was making an announcement to say, "Oh no, danger, danger, danger! Oh, danger is happening! Oh, danger, danger, danger!" The person decided not to continue in that journey. Why? Because someone spoke. Now, the words of that person has an effect, which means that person has influenced, okay? That person has influenced another individual. So that's the ability to influence, the ability to affect an individual. Now, and this could be making the person have a change of decision, have a change of opinion, have a change of behavior, or have a change of character. Okay, that's why you would always you would understand the reason why pastors or imams or religious leaders are very, very influential. Why? Because they have the ability to speak words from their beliefs to change people, to transform them. And that's why you see lots of people who believe so much in their pastors. You dare not speak anyhow to their pastors. Why? Because that's the level of influence of their religious leaders. There are people right now that, irrespective of how wrong you seem to speak about me, they will defend me and say, no, he is not that kind of person. You're wrong. Why? Because of the power of influence. They have been affected by certain things that have been said, certain things that have been done. And you must understand that influence does not just have to do with words. Influence also have to do with a life. Influence have to do with, okay, the way you act, that people see the way you comport yourself, and they're trying to say, I want to just walk like you, I want to just speak like you, I want to just reason like you, I wish I could have your measure of knowledge. Okay, I'm seeing my people here. Welcome, Princess. Welcome, Princess Augustine. It's nice to have you again. Princess is also one of our loyal followers on Growth School. You're welcome to Growth School. Okay, so influence does not just have to do with words, or does not just have to do with position, because in fact you can be in a position and really not be influential. I know some people, some people here may begin to relate with that, because there are people who are in positions but they are not influential, which means position do not determine influence. Okay, but the ability to be able to affect lives and affect people is what makes you influential. So you could see people who okay, there are certain leaders who have ruled, or some probably who are ruling, that if you mention their names, they don't seem to strike a chord. Why? Because they did not make so much impact, or they did not affect your life in any form that you think that they do. Okay, so there is that point of understanding that influence is the ability to affect people or affect things. So maybe, for example, you woke up, and let me use this instance. When you were very small, maybe probably you had this instance or this example. Maybe you had this instance or you had this example. Sorry, permit me to confirm if I'm audible. Okay, let me confirm quickly if I'm audible. But I hope I'm audible. I hope you can hear me. All right, interesting. So it's very, very clear. All right, so good. So it's the ability to impact lives, okay, to affect their decisions, or to be able to make them change their decisions. Now, like I wanted to point out, when we're much younger, there are times whereby maybe if you were playing football, maybe you stayed in a family where your parents didn't like you as a young boy to always play football, maybe in the compound or with the people there for certain reasons. Immediately, if for certain reasons, maybe your parents went out, they went to work, and you were playing football, at any instance you cited maybe your dad or your mom, what do? You run, okay? You will not stay there to be playing that football. Or maybe you are a girl, in Nigeria, the ladies are usually used to 10-10. Those 10-10 they used to do 10-10-10-10-10-10. And maybe your parents have told you that if I catch you ever trying to play with anyone or going around or going anywhere, if for any reason you were playing 10-10 and you just heard the voice of your mom saying, "Oh, good evening," or you just heard that voice, what did you do? You ran back to the house. Now, that's a measure of influence, because your parents had influence on you. They had influence on your decision. They had influence on the things that you did. Why? Because their presence, their actions, or the things that they said affected your decisions. So you must understand that influence has to do with that. Influence could make a person tilt from a certain direction to another. Okay, that's why you would imagine why Jesus is so influential. Why? Because he came to earth, he died, okay, from what's written and what is believed. He died, okay, and for everyone who believe in him, what happens? They will not perish. So people don't want to perish. What do? They surrender their life to Christ. So that's a measure of influence. So people were going on the sinful direction. Maybe the guy was always smoking, or he's always drinking, or he's always humanizing, or he tells lies a lot. Okay, eventually he surrendered his life to Jesus, he submitted his life, and then that influence is had on him. And you must understand that influence have the ability to outlive the people who made those certain decisions or build those statements or build those structures. You must have that understanding that the fact that people, for example, there are people who are dead, but their influence still outlived them. Their influence outlived them. Okay, we read books of people who are gone, books of people who are no longer alive. That's to tell you that influence is something that is powerful. Influence is powerful. Influence is powerful. It's powerful. Emmanuel Lakete is saying, wow, that's true. Jesus was influential while on earth. Yes, very important. Very important. Influence is powerful. If you have the ability and you are able to come into a place of influence, you cannot know how powerful you are. There are people who, because of the influence they have had, they will step into places where people will kill, and they will bring them out and give them privileges. And that's where you see people say life is not balanced. You don't have the same influence like that person. This life is not balanced. So you don't have the same influence like that person. And that's why I will begin to talk about sacrifice. Now, I tried reading through the origin of the word influence. Influence came from the Latin word influential. Influential. It has to do with the flow of ideas, the flow of power, or influence from one person to the other. Okay, so someone seems to be more powerful, and for that reason, you believe, you honor, and you respect that person. So that person has an influence on how you choose to respond to him or her. So influence is so powerful. It is important to understand that the scope of influence changes from one person to the other. Everyone on earth, the over 4 billion plus people on earth, we do not all operate at the same scope of influence. We do not all. There are people who have influence on just one person. There are people who have influence on two. There are people who have influence on 10. There are people who have influence on 100. There are people who have influence on thousands, some millions. When you go on Instagram today, people have followers 10 point something millions. How many of you remember the number of likes and views, likes that Messi had when he won the World Cup, the picture of the World Cup he held? You can see that's influence. And that's why they are so paid. That's why companies would pay Messi millions of dollars just to talk about, just to stand. He may not say anything about the product, just to look and smile. Why? Because they know he has that influence. So influence is powerful. Never let people deceive you that influence is not important. Or maybe religious people say, influence is a thing of the world. That's why those people have influence on you. That's why those people have influence on you. You can imagine today the younger generation, the youth, okay, those who are called the youth category. You can imagine, not even the youth, you will see a child of 5 years old dancing to a secular song. What happened? That song had influence on him or her. So influence is powerful. Never relegate influence in your life. Influence is powerful. The same applies. You would even realize that if there are two people who are influential, maybe one is a male, one is a lady, maybe one is a guy, one is a lady, even if they get married to each other, they will not operate at the same level of influence. Even those who are married to each other don't operate at the same level of influence. Even business partners don't operate at the same level of influence. Our scope of influence may be different, but it does not mean that we are not all influential. It does not mean that we are not all influential. And you must understand that one element that determines the scope of your influence is not the money you have, is not the purpose you are called into, is not just the assignment you are giving, is not just the vision that you have, but it's the sacrifice that you have to offer. Is the sacrifice. That's why we are dealing with the sacrifice of influence. So it's not just about, oh, I have money, I can buy followers. I have money, I can get a lot of people to like my post on to like my post on Facebook or Instagram. Oh, I have a great vision that I'm going to speak to millions of people. That's not what will determine how influential you become. One major element that is critical to determine how much influence you would have in your life and in your generation is sacrifice. Is sacrifice. So, how sacrificial, the intensity of your sacrifice will determine the scope of your influence. I'll say that again. If you get that, you can help me write in the comment section. The intensity of your sacrifice will determine the scope of your influence. The scope of your influence. And I would say a lot of things as we move on. The intensity of your sacrifice will determine the scope of your influence. Sacrifice is that important. Now, let's talk about sacrifice. The second key word in our topic is sacrifice. Now, sacrifice simply means giving up something valuable or important, typically for the sake of a greater good or a higher purpose. Giving up something that is valuable or important for the sake of a greater good or a higher purpose. Now, don't believe that because you have purpose means that automatically you'll be influential. You can discover purpose and still not be influential. Take that from me. You know, I speak a lot around purpose, discovery, and all of that. There are people who are so religious. There are people who are so religious about their purposes, about their purposes, that they just assume that their purpose will transmit to influence. But it does not happen that way. Are there not people who receive vision, who say, oh, this is my purpose, I will do this, I will accomplish this, I will get this, I will get that. But yet their impact is still very small. Their impact is still very, very small. It's still very small. So you must understand that really being religious, okay, around your purpose does not equate to the increase and growth of your influence. Don't be mistaken. Why? Because you can be mistaken of becoming religious about purpose that you end up missing the greatness of destiny. You can be so religious about what you call your life purpose to the point that you can miss the greatness in your destiny. It's very possible. So purpose does not mean you will grow in influence. There is a responsibility that you must take in order to grow that influence, despite the fact that you know what your purpose is. Now, the Latin word, the origin of the word sacrifice comes from the word Sacrificium. Sacrificium, which means to make sacred, okay, or to perform a religious rite, to offer something valuable to a deity as a way of demonstrating respect, gratitude, or ask for favor. You know, the thing with many people right now is that is that they are not giving forth anything to be influential. They are just assuming that someday they will be influential. They are not giving up anything to be influential. They are only assuming that someday it will happen. And you must understand that influence requires sacrifice. Influence requires what? Sacrifice. Thank you, Manuel. Manuel shared the intensity of your sacrifice will determine the scope of your influence. Yes, correct. Yes, correct. Because the world, I said in the previous growth school last week, that the world is conditioned by a system of exchange. If you do not offer anything, you do not get a reward eventually. So you must be willing to sacrifice. You must be willing to offer something. You must be willing to give something in order to arise to the level of influence that you want to get. Now, here is my question to you. What are you offering? What are you offering? And what are you rendering in exchange for the kind of greatness that you desire? What sacrifices are you making for what you want to become? What are you offering? Are you just saying, "Oh, I'm going to be influential"? And right now, a lot of people are praying and saying, "Oh, God, make me influential. God, make me command massive impact to the world. Make me travel to all the continents of the world. Make me impactful and great. Make me to touch lives. Make me do great things. Make me to become sought after." My question to you is, what are you offering to bring that dream into actualization? You can't scam God. You can't blackmail God with your prayer. You can't blackmail God with your fasting. You know what you have to do? You need to put your mind, you need to choose to know what sacrifices is demanded for that level of greatness. What sacrifices are crucial for that level of greatness? You must ask, what sacrifices are you making for what you want to become? You see people who have this type of, "I'm going to become the number one most sought after fashion designer." By mouth, "I'm going to be the most sought after public speaker out of the world." What are you offering to make it happen? "I'm going to be the most celebrated author that the world is going to applaud. I'm going to sell book in millions of dollars." What are you offering to make it happen? There is always a sacrifice for the kind of influence that you want to attain in life. For the level of influence, just like we have said, I'm going to show you Emmanuel's statement again, like I mentioned. The intensity of your sacrifice will determine the scope of your influence. The intensity of your sacrifice, never forget this, the intensity of your sacrifice will determine the scope of your influence. There are a lot of people who go to religious gatherings who are sacrificing nothing to be wealthy. But yet, there are those who don't go to those religious gatherings and they offer some measure of sacrifice to the point that they get the result that some people are praying for. Am I saying that you should be greedy? Am I saying you should go wrongly? I'm only saying that the result you are seeking after is going to answer to the sacrifice that you're offering. Let me tell you one truth, and I want you to write this down. Both God and the devil are propelled and moved by sacrifices. Both God and the devil are moved and propelled by sacrifices. Why? Because even the Abialists offer sacrifice. Even the Abialists offer sacrifice. And they see a measure of result. That's why they continue. But you who seem to say, "Oh, I believe in God, I pray, I do all of those things," you are not offering anything to enter into the greatness that you desire. So you must understand that the intensity of your sacrifice will determine the scope of your influence. And you must understand that there is a spiritual enablement and the human responsibility to influence. There is the spiritual enablement and there's the human responsibility to attain the great height of influence that you want to reach. Never believe that the influence you are going to get in life is all dependent on God. And I would show you an example from Jesus. Do you know that Jesus was not just walking on earth and expecting that the people will come and gather to him and he will be able to influence them? Jesus was going from city to city. There is always the human responsibility. So why are you deceiving yourself that it's only by doing religious activities, praying, fasting, those are the things that will make you influential? No. Even Jesus, when they told him, oh, let's make him king, and he ran away and went to another city. If speaking to a Samaritan woman will be so important to Jesus, it means there is the human responsibility to becoming influential. There is that human responsibility. Go and ask, or maybe you should go and listen to the story. The only problem is a lot of the celebrities and a lot of the influencers, many a times they don't tell you their story. So you just expect, oh, they had it so easy, they had it so fine. Even those who attend reality programs, they are sacrificing something. They won't tell you. They won't tell you. They won't tell you. But you feel they had it so easy. And you know, Nollywood is doing so well in their way, in some measure. They pass some good lessons. The otherwise, there's a part that I don't just still toe. You know, when people watch those movies, oh, this guy came from the village, and then in the next two scenes, he's already driving a jeep, and you believe that's how life works. You are deceiving yourself. Life answers to influence. Both God and the devil are propelled by the sacrifices that men put into what they do. Do you know there are men who don't go to church? There are men who don't go to mosques. There are men who don't even believe in God, but yet they are highly successful. Why? Because they are sacrificing something. And you know what? God will always respond to the principle of sacrifice, irrespective of who is obeying it. Irrespective of who is obeying it. So you must understand that there is the spiritual enablement. No one is influential by chance. There is the spiritual enablement and there is the human responsibility. There's the human responsibility. So it's not just, remember I said there is the spiritual enablement. I did not say there is the God enablement. Why? Because there are many spirits. There are many spirits that can be seen, that exist. And those spirits, they have immense ability to support those who obey certain systems. So it is now left with you as human to determine which spirit you want to submit to. When you see someone who is diligent, who works so diligently, he should eat out of the reward. Okay? Why? Because even the Bible says, he that labor, a laborer is worthy of his wages. So when the person labors and is diligent, he would of course get the reward. So this is why not every influence can be attained by God. There are people who are growing, who are doing a lot of things, who are increasing on different sides, who are making a lot of impact in different corners, that they are not supported. They are not supported by God. Many who are not supported by God. So there are many spirits that can enhance and enable people to become influential. It will be incorrect to believe that you become influential only because God gave it to you. Listen, there are things that are not given by God, but they are permitted by God. I don't want to go so deep into this, but think about it deeply. There are things that are not given by God, but they are permitted by God. For example, there are people who attain certain positions. Yes, God permitted them, does not mean that they are the will of God to sit on those thrones. Okay? So that's why you see people, whenever you see someone who is successful, Whenever you see someone who is great, whenever you see someone who is doing so well, and you approach them and say, "Oh, sir, can you tell me the process to your accomplishment?" And they tell you, "Na God." And they tell you, "Na God, na God," and you are believing, "Na God, na God." You see someone who is doing well, who is successful, who is wealthy, and you ask, what's the secret? How did you go about it? What's the process you went through? What are things that work for you?" And they are telling you, "Na God." They are deceiving you. You know the way they have deceived a lot of people with "Na God"? That a lot of people, the only thing they do is just to pray and fast, and they wonder why they are not successful. Why? Because they believe it is only "Na God." There is the divine enablement and there is the human responsibility. Look at anyone who got certain opportunities, who became great. For example, look at David. David did not just sit in the bush, and then he became so you must understand that there is always a spiritual principle and then the human responsibility to bring your influence to accomplishment. So, like I said, both God and the devil honor sacrifices. Now, let me tell you this story. I used to attend a church when I was much younger, and we used to have something called weekly services, just like all right, sorry for that break. So you should understand. Like I was saying in the story, I used to attend a church when I was much younger, and the founder, last one of the founder of the church, there were two founders. The wife died, so the husband and the wife founded that ministry. So the wife died, so the husband came into becoming the founder, and there's a title they give them, which I don't want to mention here. And when we attend weekly services, and for certain reasons, it's a church where they use drums and all of that. For certain reasons, probably the choir members who are supposed to be the drums, they are not always around. This man will leave. This church is not a small church, like capacity of maybe about hundreds, going to hundreds. You can imagine such population. This particular founder would leave his honorable seat prepared for him, and he will come to the drums and begin to beat the drum for the service. Okay, I'm not saying it's ideal or it's fine, but I'm trying to bring a point out of it. That this man at that time, I think he was over 60, he's dead now, he's late now, over 60, would leave his honorable seat and not say, "Oh, the choir members are not around and let's just leave it the way it is." He will leave where he sat down and he will come beat the drum for the service. He will come beat the drum for the service. In fact, at certain instances, I used to be by him, and then I will support in beating the drum. Now you should understand. Maybe you are surprised that I used to drum. I used to drum when I was much younger. I'm not just sure if I still know how to drum again. And what am I trying to bring out? Now the man is late, but the ministry is still standing. And they have evolved over time. They have evolved, they have grown, they have been transformed to the point now they interpret in English. It used to be a Yoruba church. They interpret in English. They do a lot of amazing programs for young people. I've been invited at I think maybe 2 years ago or last year. No, 2 years ago or last year, I guess, to come speak in their children program. They've involved. They are now better. They include a lot of things that has to do with tech. They are now on social media. Why? Because a man chose to stay. Despite the fact that people were not showing up for the vision, he was willing to stay, and now the church is even growing and becoming better outside of him. Now, that's a measure of influence. Now, the question is, a lot of people, or maybe you're listening to me right now, you are thinking and saying, oh, you want to be influential, you want to be great, you want to attain massive impact, you want to be known on social media. Oh, you want to push out videos and people would come. You want to push out webinars and a lot of people would attend. The question is, how much sacrifice are you putting into making that happen? And the question is, even if one person shows up for your webinar, will you still put so much commitment, dedication, intentional effort, and diligence to deliver just like 1,000 people would attend? That's an example of someone I've just told you. Look also, even if you attend a church, or probably you're Muslim, you attend a mosque, if you look critically, look at all the founders or the general overseers of those churches, of those ministries. If you look critically and you read their background story before they got to the places where they are, they paid immense sacrifice. Some of them, at certain instances, they would not eat, and yet they would give out to their church members. And you are wondering why those people are loyal to them. Are you joking? There are times whereby I've been tired, sometimes I was exhausted, and yet people would reach out. I would organize free coaching program, free mentorship programs. Started this journey on WhatsApp before it became a thing where people started doing groups and all of that. I would invite my friends, tell them to come speak. We were doing that over. Nobody was paying me. I was not getting anything for it. But what? I was willing to do it and do it again. Eventually, when Purpose Hangout was to begin, the people who benefited from those free programs were those who stood as coordinators for Purpose Hangout events. We were in Ibadan, when the Polytechnic of Ibadan, when the Ekiti State University Ekiti, when on those states, we were in we had a session in Lagos. Someone coordinated for Port Harcourt. How? Because there was an immense sacrifice that was made. Look at anything that becomes great. Sacrifices were put in place. So it's important to know that you will not become great because you assume that you merit it. You will become great because you paid sacrifices. You paid sacrifices into it. You paid your price. You paid your price. You'll be able to stand up someday and say you have paid your due. Have you heard people who said that? I have paid my due. So your question is, have you paid your due for the kinds of influence and impact that you want to make? Don't just look at people and envy their glory and envy that, so this guy too has become a speaker. Oh, this guy too is speaking. Oh, this guy too. See people that are following him. See the number of likes. See this. Look at that. See his fresh face. Go and look at them the time when their faces were disfigured. When I say disfigured, I do not mean the negative form. When it has not shot out, when they were still fasting, when they were still so lean. Go and just check their throwback pictures. Then you will know the sacrifices that men pay to be influential. Thanks to all my people who have helped with Purpose Hangout. I want to use this opportunity to appreciate them. Amzat Oluwaseun, Grace, what's that name again? Grace. I know if she's listening, she knows. Susan Adesoji, amazing people. Mary Shueton, amazing people who supported us. Adejumoke Adeyeye, great people. Thank you so much, guys. Dayo Moyo, Adenike Akinlabi, great people. You know why? Because a sacrifice was put in place. Who are you investing in today? Who are you paying a price on today that will be there for you at the point where you need to evolve into a level of influence? Okay. Okay, we've done about about 15 minutes already, and I don't want to stay so much beyond 1 hour, 10 minutes. Is very certain we will not be able to finish this session today. We'll continue wherever we stop, we'll continue next week. Okay, now listen to this. Not everyone was dubious, or not everyone had to kill to succeed. Some people simply paid positive yet highly demanding sacrifices to rise. Positive yet highly demanding sacrifices to rise. I happen to work in the academia. Okay, I'm in the education space. If you look at professors, people who became professors, if you have the ability to access their publications, you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked at how many of them had to sit for days just to publish. I had my own turns between last 2 years and last year, and last year, yes. Submitting papers, they will say, oh, rejection. Submitting papers, they'll say, oh, it does not fit here. And that thing can be frustrating. And yet you will see that person become professor tomorrow and you feel, oh, it was so easy. Oh, he just copied, he just did this. When you see someone who published real work, it's a lot of sacrifice. I've learned in my own way. I've learned that it's not easy to publish paper. Someone was telling me in another campus, in a campus in Lagos, how I think in that institution they had to push out people who were the best researchers, those who are published in top journals, and they had very high citation, and she happened to be amidst the best 10. And because of that, some other people saw that and they began to envy her. Like, how did you do it? So this person is this, person is this. Why? Because they can't see sacrifice. Listen, whenever you find yourself being envious and being jealous of people, it's always because you have not been able to see their sacrifices. When you see the sacrifices of people, you will know that they have earned it. You will know that they have earned it. So when you see someone who came into privilege, maybe the person was born in a rich home, sacrifice was paid, even though it was not him that paid the price. It may not have paid the price, but somebody paid that price. So you must know that influence requires sacrifice. Influence requires sacrifice. And there is no vision that will succeed without the full commitment of the bearer. I people say, oh, my vision is this, come and support me. How much have you put into that vision? Oh, my mission is this. Oh, I want to organize a program for girls. I want to teach them how to do this. But yet you are putting nothing into that vision. The same thing happened to startups. A lot of startups who want to begin a business, they just have ideas. And they walk to investors and say, oh, give me your money. And the person is asking you, how much have you put into that business? They've not put in anything. But they want to use other people's money as experiments. If you really want to succeed with your vision, it must take something away from you. There must be the full commitment of you, the bearer of that vision, if that vision must succeed. Okay, this is very important. Never expect people to believe in a vision you are not sold to. Never expect people to believe in a vision you are not sold to. I remember when Purpose Hangout began, I had to reach out to some of my friends. There were some of my friends who came to be speakers in some of the Purpose Hangout events, and they spoke for free. Why? Because they can see how I am so sold to it. They can see how I am sold to the vision. How sold are you to your vision? How sold are you to your vision? Or you're expecting people? Let me see, I can see some comments here. Oh, thank you, Princess. Wow, so much value, sir. The power of sacrifice is very important. It's very important. Even God will not prosper what you are not sacrificial about. Take that from me. Even God will not prosper what you are not sacrificial about. You expect you want to become a millionaire? What sacrifice are you paying today? Are you paying the sacrifice of denying gratification, denying yourself some gratifications? Are you paying the price of trying to know how to eat averagely so that you will not go hungry tomorrow. Even God honors what? Sacrifice. Even God honors sacrifice. Very important. Now, let me ask you, what sacrifice are you paying to become influential? What sacrifice are you paying to become influential? For some people, you need to pay the sacrifice of food. You need to eat less so that you can wake up at midnight to read and absorb the right knowledge, okay, that would help you grow into a measure of influence. Some people right now don't have posts to write. Some people right now, all their posts right now, chat GPT, you don't know you are killing your creativity. Yes, it's good, but don't leave everything to AI. I use AI tools. I use them a lot. If you have watched my video, I use them for some of my videos. But you know what? If you want to be influential, you want to be so influential, you can't do without investing in knowledge. Some people, it's food. If right now you attend parties because you want to go and eat, you are not ready to be positively influential. Why? Because great men don't behave that way. You are not willing to sacrifice food. Some people will attend parties and they would cry and they will be hungry because they didn't eat there. I'm not saying it's fine, though anyone organizing events at all should plan very well. But I'm saying, why should you go to an event and fight, and yet you want to become a person of influence? You say, I never. Some people will eat once. You never do. Bring another one. Behave. Learn to behave. You must learn to behave. Influential people, they begin to act. They begin to act positive as positive influence. Can people look at you and say, this guy's been sitting out there, even with the fact that he has not eaten, he's still so calm. Unless someone just respect himself or respect herself because they watched you, you have become influential on that person. Don't go everywhere and you are still the one that after you have eaten, you still want to pack so much inside nylon. And yet, people have not yet eaten. Influential people don't behave that way. Okay? The sacrifice of food. Eat well, eat fine. But don't eat to constipation to the point that when you sleep at night, you sleep and oversleep, that you can't wake up to add knowledge to yourself. You can't wake up to pray. You can't wake up to think. You can't wake up to write. Number two, are you paying the sacrifice of drink? And when I talk about drink, I'm talking about certain things. Okay? So you are still the type that still say, I can't do it with alcohol. I must drink. I must shark. In Nigeria lingua, they must shark. And you're thinking you want to be positively influential? Well, I know there are a lot of people that have their belief system, but why not just pay the sacrifice of staying away from drinks, hard drinks? Even some, it may not be hard drinks, it may be soft drinks. Is it helping you to speak better? Is it helping your health? Is it helping you? For my own opinion, I stopped taking soft drinks since 2020. And I'm fine, good. I'm not saying you should copy me. I'm just saying it's my own opinion. So you can see the sacrifice I pay. So I could stay to speak for a long time, okay? Probably, I don't consume so much of sugar. Yes, I want to be fresh, I want to be fine, but I don't want to be, okay, there's a kind of stature I need. Why? Because at 40, at 50, at 60, at 70, I want to still remain agile and I want to be able to speak and my voice is still clear. You make that investment from today. The sacrifice. How do you think people can speak? I think it was Eric Thomas I was listening to. I think it was Eric Thomas, or maybe another thought leader, who said he was flying from, I think, a particular state in the United States, maybe to somewhere else. He was traveling via flight from somewhere to another place, and they offered him, the normal complimentary drink and all of that they give. And he said that, no, he's not taking that. He said, no, he's not taking that because he's not aware of where that particular drink is coming from, or maybe it's water or something. He's not aware where it's coming from. And that he cannot afford to take just anything and disappoint the people who are paying him for his gift. So he needs to treat his gift as premium. Can you see the price people are paying just to be influential? So it is selective of what he drinks. Why? Because he cannot afford to break down. People are paying so much just to invite him to speak. What are you sacrificing so that people can pay you so much, and yet you will not tell them you're broken down, or you will not appear before the stage and you're speaking with so much of weakness? You need a lot of energy to be influential. You need energy. You need energy. You need premium energy to be influential. You need to sacrifice some things. You could decide to stop sugar, the sacrifice of drink. You can decide to stop sugar. You can decide to stop eating some foods. Why? Because they contain so much of carbohydrate, and you know they may weigh you down. You know they would affect your breath unnecessarily. I think I heard the story. I think someone was telling the story of a well celebrated gospel minister. I don't want to call her name. No, I think she mentioned it herself. This gospel minister does not take cold water. She does not take cold water just because she wants her gifts, okay, to be at premium. What are you doing to make your gifts remain at premium? Think about it. What are you doing to be able to serve your gift at premium? You say, maybe for example, I'm a choir in my church. Can you continually sing? Can you sing continually for 2 hours and yet you will not be tired? You will still appear like you just started. What are you doing to your body? What are you doing to your mind? What are you doing to your brain to make your gifts remain at premium? What? Think about it. What are you doing to yourself? Are you reading? Are you taking courses? Are you investing in knowledge so much that makes you merit the amount that you want to get? You would see someone, maybe the person is an editor. You know, I have friends who are editors, okay, and I can recommend them. Very amazing people. Please check them out. Check out Elizabeth Samuel, EC Anna Enyawule. Check them out. Amazing editors. Aziz Okeyale. Okay, you can check them out. You want your book to come out really fine. Check out any of these people. Check them out on Facebook. Contact them. They are doing so well. Okay, someone may see the categories of these people. Probably they are charging very high amount to just edit book, and they say, so this is the amount editors are paying. And then you now say you want to become an editor. Better ask them what price they are paying. Many of them have had to take courses that they have to pay a lot just to be able to attain to that level of excellence. What price are you paying, sir? What price are you paying, ma? It looks like I'm shaking so much of table. Are you getting value? If you are getting value, let me see you type value in the comment section. Thank you so much. Let me see you type value in the comment section. Thank you, princess. Let me see you type value in the comment section. Let me see you type value. If you're getting value, let me see you type value. Let me check my phone. Let me see you type value. If you're getting value, let me see you type value. Type value. Awesome. Let me see you type value. So what price are you paying? What price exactly are you paying to ensure that your gift can serve people with premium? Okay? You know, there are things you just have to pay for. Don't continue to remain an Osho free. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Princess. Value. Okay? Don't continue to always, don't be the type that always say, is it free? Don't keep us saying, is it free? Sometimes you need to measure where you want to get to, okay? And the price you have to pay to get there. Is it free? Is it free? Even when people offer things for free, can you appreciate the value, okay, that they offer just to be able to make you get that? Okay, thirdly, are you paying the sacrifice of friends? I've talked about the sacrifice of food, the sacrifice of drink, the sacrifice of friends. The sacrifice of friends. Yes. There are some friends that would not be able to bear, okay, the accelerated level of influence that you are getting into. There are a lot of friends that will not be able to bear it. Why? Because they are satisfied in a very small myopic state that they see you as a threat when you choose to ascend beyond that. Sacrifice of friends. And when I say sacrifice of friends, I'm not saying, oh, entirely you tell them, oh, I'm sorry, I can't be your friend again. I can't do. That's what some people do when they hear, there's a friend. You know, with wisdom, strategically, there are friends you just need to change their state or level of closeness to you. Why? Because they may pull you down from attaining the greatness and reaching the very peak of the influence that you can attain. Another thing is the sacrifice of places. The sacrifice of places. Sorry, this is going to affect those who love Owambe. Oh, there are people that there is no weekend apart from maybe it's a public holiday or COVID when people could not go out, or maybe during an election. There is virtually no weekend that they don't attend an Owambe. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm not saying it's wrong when you attend Owambe, but sometimes you need to sit down and ask, what's the priority, okay, of my attending this particular occasion? We must begin to measure. Like, is it very important? Is it very necessary that I appear at that occasion? Okay? You may just think. And then in attending that occasion, is there a positive mission that I am willing to accomplish there? Or I only want to belong? You know, there are a lot of our parents who, the reason why many of them were not able to own lands, own houses, accomplish a lot of things, and then get to a certain level of greatness is because they were willing to please everyone. They were willing to please everyone. They were willing to please everyone. Oh, if I don't attend this person's event, when I'm doing something, are they going to attend? And you don't know you are spending money, you are spending energy, you are investing certain emotional energy into it. Okay, being at every event on Saturdays, some people are buying clothes and yet they don't have money to buy a course. They don't have money to enroll for a course. They don't have money to purchase a book, but they are buying clothes. Can you make the sacrifice of occasions, the sacrifice of places, just so you can grow? By the time you grow, your worth, the revenue that will come in, will give you the privilege to be able to attend those events and not think of where your next meal will come from. The sacrifice of places. Please hold on a sec. I want to. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. So one more sacrifice I will talk about, and maybe I will talk about the catalyst of influence next week. Okay. So I've talked about the fact that you may need to sacrifice food, sacrifice drink, sacrifice friends, sacrifice places, and also sacrifice fun. Okay, sacrifice fun. Now, and this is basically, I'll be closing on this note. This is going to those, if you know you were not born with silver spoon, you were not born with golden spoon. This is very, very important. What I'm about to say is very important. You must understand that because of the place you were born, and sometimes because of the people who gave birth to you, there are certain programs that have been put in you by default that you may need to either format, or you may need to unprogram. You may need to unprogram and reprogram your mind. And a lot of people who did not have the privilege to be born by wealthy parents, to be born with silver, golden, and golden spoon, most of the times you'll find them always trying to play second and third place. Why? Because they do not believe that greatness and influence is meant for them. I will not be so deep on this tonight. Maybe next week I would share more. I'll shed more light on it. And sometimes you may not be aware. You may think that maybe because you went to school, you graduated, or maybe you had a master's degree, or you had a first class, you may be shocked that you may step into certain places of greatness and you will still be intimidated. You'll still be intimidated and not be able to take advantage, okay, of that environment of greatness. And this is very important for influence. Very, very important for influence. You let me give you this as an assignment, because I need to close this show now. I want you to sit down tonight and begin to write out certain belief system that you saw in the environment you were born. Write them down. Certain belief systems that you know that is peculiar to the places you were born, that is peculiar to the people that gave birth to you, that is peculiar to maybe the environment you were born. Maybe you were born in a poor home, or you were born in a single room with 4 or 5 children, or maybe you were, just things that pertain to your background. Okay, that pertain to your background. Those ideologies that pertain to your background. Now, look at them critically. Just, you could limit yourself, there could be more, but limit yourself to about 10 of it. It could be more or less. Limit yourself to about 10 of it. Now, begin to look at each of those ideologies one after the other and analyze what impact they had on you. Okay? Analyze what impact they had on you. After analyzing what impact they had on you, listen, so it's a table. You would have 3 tables: the ideologies, the impact, the intended solution. So 3 columns: the ideologies, the impact, the intended solution. Now, you've written out the ideologies, then write down what impact they had on you as a person and what impact they have had on you so far. Because if you don't do this, you may be limited. You will not be able to receive your needed breakthrough. Okay, your needed breakthrough to attain a great level of influence. Okay, so write down those ideologies under one column. Okay, under one part of the column. In another column, write down what impact they've had on you, maybe academically, or maybe in your relationship with people. Maybe you grew up in an environment where your parents told you, those people, don't always greet them. They are witch. Oh, they are this. See their children, they are always doing this. They are always carrying that. And for that reason, you were always scared of talking to strangers. You were always scared of talking to people. And then you battled with that intimidation. You battled with that identity crisis for a long time. That's an example. Then intended solution. So your intended solution may be, you want to begin to listen to a podcast that addresses this. Or every day for the next 21 days, you are going to watch a video that has to do with the mindset. Every day, 1 hour before you sleep, you are going to watch a video that has to do with this. Or maybe, for example, you are going to buy a book that has to do with this. You must take that decision. This month of February, make up your mind. This month of what? Of February, make up your mind. Make up your mind that you're going to deal differently. Listen, your own business is not, for some of you, your business is not how to make money. It's not how to make money with chat GPT and do this. It's not how to make money online. No, your business right now is your own personal transformation. Write down the ideologies, the impact they had on you, and what intended solution you want to take, and begin to act on them. Thank you for joining me on the show tonight on Growth School Show. I hope you got so much of value. That's it for tonight. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for the privilege to join, to be impactful to you, to share with you tonight. Thank you so much. So if you have questions, you can drop your questions in the comment section. If you have questions, drop your questions in the comment section and I will be looking at them. Okay? So if you can't drop them now, if you drop them later on, I will still do well to respond to them. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you to Emmanuel. Thank you so much. So I will do well to respond to them. Awesome. Great time on Growth School tonight. Today is the first day of February 2023. What a good way to start the month with Growth School. All right. As I close the show, I wish you an amazing, phenomenal, and exceptional moment in this new month. Remain the best. Do the best that you can. Please, if you have not subscribed to my channel, I beg you to subscribe right now, like this video, and also share the link with friends so they can grow and become the best that they want to be. All right. Will I make a good sport commentator? All right. Thank you. That's amazing. It's great sharing this moment with you. So next week, by the grace of God, we'll be looking at the catalyst of influence. The catalyst of influence. Okay, the catalyst of influence. Okay, Manuel is asking a question. Please, sir, can you repeat what you said about being religious, about purpose? Okay, so I said you can be so religious about your purpose, okay, that you would lose the greatness in your destiny. Okay, you may be so religious about your purpose that you may miss the greatness in your destiny. Okay, so that's it for tonight. Do well to subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends. See you when we see. Just like one of my mentors will close, keep making the rest of your life the best of your life. Cheers.